Thank goodness for slow-mo. Ooh, caramba. These jobs get easier and easier. Oh, see you in the window. I hope you're ready to solve some crimes, because it's time to pick someone and kick in some doors. This is RICO. Winco. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, this is a two-player, both cooperative, offline and online, so split screen is available, which is very nice, because that continuously gets to be a much rarer feature in my opinion in a lot of games. This is a first-person shooter of basically a kick-down-the-door style cop game. So you'll pick one of 4 different characters. You'll unlock traits, as there's a leveling system to customize your particular character, as there's no unique things about any of them. They're just skins. They're just little skins of the characters. So there's no benefit to who you pick. But you'll unlock traits that you can equip to customize them. And what you'll do in this game, if you're playing, it's important to understand that we're going to both talk about the base build of the game and the current version of the game patched in this. The footage you're going to see is of the disc build. I won't have any footage of the complete build with its patches online, mainly because it's a dead online game, so it's not really anything to really show uniquely. So once you choose a character and you get your traits in order, which to be honest, I don't remember if you start with any unlocked. You probably didn't, to be fair. You'll have 3 options, and if you're playing the disc build, you'll only really have 2 options, and those are quick play case. The daily requires online activity to be functional, so you won't be able to access that in any way. And it does have a leaderboard if you play it. And of course you have to patch it to be able to do that now. When you patch the game, you'll get access to new hardcore case and challenge modes. So you will not have those accessible in disc mode. Now, as I said, there is split screen, so you can play it that way. I did not get to experience this game via online or split screen, so I cannot comment on how the cooperative aspect of the game. But I imagine it would add lots more fun and help a lot more with a problem that I'll bring up in the game. The main game is basically the case, though. And once you select it, what you'll get is the option to choose your difficulty and select the case. Starting the case, you'll get this map. And you basically your job is to get to the mob boss head of this criminal organization, and you'll be given different routes to lead evidence to them and to take them out. Now, the first mission is always with your base gear, and it's just a training thing. Kind of annoying when you start replaying the game, because you have to do it at the start of every case, when it feels like it really should just be a, like a completely separate select tutorial thing. So it's kind of weird to always have to do it. Now, on top of the case you chose, there are a few additional things about it. You do have a timer. You have a certain amount of time to go about your investigation, because you can fuck up an investigation and have to take a different path. This can be both beneficial and detriment, because obviously it kills into your time, but if done wisely, you can use it to get extra merit points, which is your currency, because you will never ever start with good shit. You always have your basic stuff, so you have to use merit points to unlock newer guns, body armor, healing ability, healing materials and stuff. Like, it's weird to me, because you're an officer, so it's kind of a strange system. You think it'd be more tied to the leveling system you have, but traits are purely affected by that, so it's a bit of an odd choice in my opinion, but it adds to the RNG nature because the stuff you can choose from after each mission changes. So you have to kind of weigh in the options. Do I want to use my merit points on some of the stuff that's available here, or stockpile them for after the next mission? Hope there's better things to make use of. Now, when you get into an actual mission, you'll have multiple pathways. You do have access to a map to get a general idea of how the building is built. So you can use that to kind of guesstimate the sizes of rooms and that, to get an idea of what you should use to build in. Now remember, you're on a timer when you're doing this, so this game will encourages speedrunning. Now, when it comes to your basic things, you'll have a handgun, you'll have a melee. When clicking in your right analog stick, you can slide into things and knock over enemies, slide through doors and stuff, and use that to do John Woo style through some rooms and that. Personally, I didn't make too much use of it myself, but I'm sure there can be a lot of good strats with it if you practice with it. And of course, you'll unlock a sub-weapon that you can buy with your merit points as you progress through it. And you also have revive shots that you can carry. In multiplayer, you obviously use it on either of you two, but in single player, you just use them on yourself. So it's good that they give you an option to get yourself off the ground in case you get fucked up. So that's pretty nifty. You also do get access to grenades that I didn't really get too much use out of, but they are there if you get the merit points and options to get them, and obviously they can be used for the clear out. Now, there are things in the environment, sometimes explosive shit and stuff, to help you clear out enemies, and there was sometimes wall and environmental things that can be used to absorb some damage for you. Now, the enemies are very basic AI. Like, you could easily, like, open a door, back out, and just melee them as they walk through the door pretty easily. Most enemies get knocked out in one melee hit. The ones that become a problem in this strat is when you start getting the ones that are in body armor and shit. So don't get too carried away with that kind of strat on this. But the AI is pretty stupid. But generally, you'll start your mission with objections. Sometimes there will be a very small list. Sometimes you'll have a decent sized list. And as you progress through the current operation, you can have things added to it as you go through the building. So you want to make note of that. Now, not all objections need to be done, but the primary things need to be done to carry out successfully. And for everything you get done, you will get merit points. So it's encouraged to do everything, because obviously merit points are how you're going to make yourself stronger through your case file. Now, most things are self-explanatory. Clear the building, kill the goons, get so many kills, headshots, blah blah blah, and that. Gather the evidence. Now, there are other obstacles too, like destroying these computers. There's also locked doorways where you can destroy the computers that'll open those doorways up, so they kind of corral you around the facility until you get the doors unlocked or find alternate means to get into there from the original doors you found. And then there's what is easily the worst enemy in the game: bombs. For some reason, some of these goons have bombs inside these facilities. When you uncover a room with a bomb, it immediately begins a timer, and you'll be given a goal of how many bombs you need to defuse. Now, bombs are always on the floor. You find them. So for the love of humanity, don't go to a different floor while you have a bomb on the current floor. You need to get these bombs, because you do not get a lot of time. I think the most time I've seen for a fucking bomb in a disc build is like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And that's with having multiple bombs, like 5, 6 bombs to defuse. That sucks, especially when you're by yourself. Multiplayer, I imagine, vastly easier. You can get really screwed on bombs. You could get like 50 seconds and have like 3 bombs you need to defuse. And it becomes an incredibly high priority to go through rooms, clear them, no bomb, go next room quickly and efficiently, because it is well for you to be convenient with bombs, especially the later you get in the case. The deeper you get in, the more bomb situations become a hindrance. Now, in the patched version, it seems they adjusted this with better timers. So I can't speak too much on how accurate that is, because I have more experience with the non-patched build. But if you patch it, they did address a lot of the problems with bombs more than what the base game had. But they will be your... And like every time I tried to clear a case in this game, it was bombs that usually ended the playthrough. There's nothing worse than getting like a minute to get 5+ bombs fucking taken care of late in the fucking case. And it's insane because, I mean, you know, that seems kind of like counterproductive as criminals, you know, to just destroy yourself. So, but it gets super common as you get to the mid-end of a case. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be your worst fucking foe. Now, they're all different enemies, scrawny enemies, fat enemies, enemies that will get... like welding masks on them to protect their heads to make it harder to kill them. And then there will be like army men style, SWAT team style units that sometimes will be encountered in harder missions or sometimes can come as reinforcements. Each operation in the case has a difficulty, and that can greatly affect the kind of units. Now, these units on top can wield different weapons. There's melee ones, machine guns, shotguns, handguns. So you get away with that, and sometimes they can also use grenades on you too. In whale cases, sometimes they'll throw smoke stun type grenades at you sometimes, so that's something to keep in mind. And during your operation, clearing certain objections can cause reinforcements to trigger too. And once you get primary things settled down, the stage will set having reinforcements constantly go at you. So it is good idea to keep in mind trying to avoid having endless reinforcements, because you do want to try and clear all the different goals the stage is giving you to do to get money, because merits will give you good goods. But you'll go through with missions, like I said, to get evidence, take down target, clear all the rooms, destroy all this shit, generally like that. Other than that, there are 3 things you can find primarily through the stages, other than all the things affecting your missions. You can find healing, small and big. You can find ammo, small and big. And then you can find piles of money, which I'm not 100% sure if they're giving you merit point bonuses or not. There are times where gathering the money is one of the goals of the stage, but almost all the time you can find piles of money regardless of whether it's a goal or not. So I'm not 100% sure if those are extra merits or not. So to be honest, I couldn't really figure that out. Now, the game isn't amazing looking. It is on the Switch and PS4, but this is the PS4 version that we are covering. And it has crashed one time on me. And its frames and everything are pretty janky. This is a pretty janky little game. This was not a full budget game at all. And I can't really say if you're expecting like really high premium first person action with this, you're probably barking up the wrong tree, I would say. But if you are looking for something to do cooperative with someone, and it's up to 2 players, so there's no 3-4 players with this, just 2 players. If you need some with a friend, this definitely could fulfill that need, in my opinion. I would imagine it's a vastly funner and better experience with a friend. While on the note of a friend, as I said, this is online, so you'll have to patch it to make access. And the online does still function. you can play the different modes with a partner and do the daily challenges as well. But the thing is, you won't find anyone likely unless you set up a thing with someone to actually do that. I had tried on several occasions to see if anyone played this anymore, and I could never find anyone. So the game seems pretty much dead. So unless you always have a setted plan with someone, yeah, you're not gonna find any randos to play with, which is a shame because that would really justify probably actually having some fun with this if you don't have any local friends to make fun. Now, of course, the primary aspect of the game, though, is the door kicking. As I said, if you played any of the mini games that have this kind of style, going to a door, kicking it, you go into a slow motion option, and the idea is to try and kill everything during that slow motion. It gives you time to try and time headshots. And if you're really good at lining up headshots with different guns and that, you're going to have a really good time clearing out rooms and shit in this. But yeah, you'll have a momentary slowdown. And this does carry over in the co-op. Though I believe, if I remember correctly, upon reading, I think both people have to do the door simultaneously, I think. Again, I never got to try out the multiplayer, so you'll have to forgive me on aspects of that. Also, as a little extra thing, too, you can gather up enemies' guns for very minuscule amounts of extra ammo as well. Which is, of course, useful when you're carrying the guns you like to use that, because you can potentially go way through a lot of your ammo depending on how well you shoot and such. If you're very shoot and pray versus calculated headshots, you can have, vastly different ammo counts. Overall, though, this is definitely something I would recommend for more of the type that are looking for something cooperative to play with a friend than by themselves, because other than completing a case once or unlocking trophy achievement type things, I don't feel like the game has a long-lasting stance of gameplay by yourself, personally. But if you do like what you see, then I would say check it out. And it is important to note that this game does have a sequel called RICO London, which also came out for the PS4 and Switch, but also the Xbox physically. And I heard that's actually even worse than this. So, that one maybe we'll visit one day if I ever find it for a pretty cheap or reasonable deal some way. So you might ask, what do I think is the value of this game? It kind of depends if you plan on patching it or not, honestly, in my opinion. If you patch it, you're definitely getting a better experience overall, and access to obviously being able to play online if you happen to convince someone to also get the game on your chosen platform to play online with you. If you're going to go down that route, I think there's more value in the game, but honestly, either way, I can't really recommend paying more than $10 for this title. I think that is the highest value I can give this particular title. And again, this is the PS4 version I experienced. I can't really imagine what the experience is like on Switch. There was someone in the Does It Play community that did play the Switch version, and their report said that they did not experience any major issues except really long load screens. And to be fair, there is a bit loading on the PS4 version too, but I imagine the Switch version's probably even worse. Probably. You may have to look specifically at someone who covered the Switch version. With that said, if you're getting the game digitally, you're looking at $20 as a $19.99 title. In the used market, you can find this generally in the low tens, usually about $10 to $15 in the used, and if you're looking for sealed, you're looking more closer to the 20 price range. But honestly, looking at a lot of prices, this is one of the more cheaper Switch games I've seen. So if that happens to pique your interest, that might be something to look into if the Switch version happens to be somewhat competent on its own too. But again, PS4 version, so I can't specifically really reference that one much on my end. Got a friend to team up with, be it online or in your comfort of your own home, I think it's worth a $10 fun fest for a day, or even on certain occasions. Like, it's a game you could easily pick up, have some fun with it, with a visit, hang out. I could see some fun out of it. But as for by yourself, it's just probably gonna do a case, be done, unless you're gonna go for achievements and trophies and such. Which, of course, if you're on Switch, you're not getting any of that. So, with that said, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this game. It was okay. It's not perfect. It's a budget game indeed, because it was originally, like I said, $20 when it comes to the digital version. I'm not really sure what the OG price for the physical version is. There's the potential it might have been like $39.99 maybe for the physical version, which I hope the hell not, because that's definitely way over gouging this game indefinitely. Now, if you're wanting an opinion on London, as I said, there is the sequel, which is RICO London, and I have not played that, nor do I possess it. I'm not really paying the $20+ that all versions of that currently go for right now. That's way too high, considering almost, when I first looked up these games, almost everyone universally said is a worse experience than this game. So, yeah, no way I'm paying more than what I paid this game to get that. So, maybe one day, but probably is going to be a while till I get either lucky or it's just became, worthless, which is likely going to be eventually at some point. Those are my opinions on RICO. It's a fun little kick-the-door game you can play in co-op. Again, I do appreciate the fact that it has split screen, which is good. Though I don't know how in the world that is on Switch, though. Hopefully, maybe on Switch, it maybe make use of, like, local wireless connection with 2 switches, which is always a nice option, because like the Among Us, for example, on Switch actually has that, which makes it pretty much the only Among Us version that will be preserved if the game ever like truly goes offline. So kind of some irony there, actually. But again, that's an assumption. I have absolutely no idea if that's in the Switch version by any means. I might do some light research to check that out. That depends on my time, because my time has been crunchy lately, and I'm trying to get through a few of these lighter titles right now before we do another big one. Catch up on a few of these that we went through this year. Overall, it's okay. It's a pretty low tier game, but it's not a completely broken ass fucking mess like a lot of Western games are sometimes. I thought it was an interesting little title. Maybe if I'm lucky, Everyone's Wrong in London's actually really interesting too, but only time will tell on that front. Until then, make sure you survive the bombs, because this thing's really fucking unfair, I tell you. It's almost worth updating the fucking game just because the bombs are so fucking annoying. I can't tell you how many fucking games I lost to the damn bombs. Until next time, thank you for watching. And if you feel like you learned anything interesting, feel free to leave a like. And if you learned nothing at all, feel free to leave a dislike. You're free. Until next time, be careful there on the case in the proving grounds. Until next time.